Sound. You're listening to Mad Sound Radio. And now, here's your host, Charlie John.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Mad Sound Radio, the show where we talk with musicians about what goes into their craft, the stories behind the songs, and much, much more. I'm your host, musician and music nerd, Charlie John. Today's guest is a singer, songwriter, musician, and overall good friend of mine from Austin, Texas.
Oh, I need a heart bigger than you. I need a love deeper than truth. And I need a light that don't go out. It just keeps burning all night. Oh, I need a high.
Lauren Patton's here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So we, let's just go back to the beginning, well, obviously to us, but not to anybody else, but we met through this online songwriting group. Is that what Songtown is? It's called Songtown?
Yeah.
And are you still on there, by the way?
I am still on there. I joined Songtown. It was early 2020.
Okay. Early 2020. How's that Songtown overall experience been for you?
Oh, it's been great. So I've been on there since then. So it's been a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I've met a lot of people to co-write with.
Yeah.
Such as yourself. And I think we met through Charlie, someone else we know. We have a mutual friend who's also on Songtown.
Charlie Dunn,
so
shout out.
It's Charlie Dunn. So meeting people for co-writing has really been like the main thing. And then also they do courses and stuff. So I've done a writing for artists course where they have artists come on and you write a song start. And if they like it, then you continue to write that with them.
Okay.
So I've done that.
Is that just like where you write half a song maybe, or like a verse chorus deal?
Yeah, I think when we did it, so it has been a minute. I think we did I think we submitted a verse chorus or just a chorus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it in any genre? Because I know that you work in singer-songwriter, but country bent kind of. It kind of bends country a little bit with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it definitely bends country. It was so I did that course a couple years, and the time we wrote with an artist, it was kind of a pop vibe.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we've been in, mostly because I grew up and I learned how to basically write in the pop genre, which is interesting to me because it's always changing, right? The pop genre is whatever is popular. So that's not really like country is kind of, there's a definition for country. There's a definition for singer-songwriter, all that stuff. But pop is just like whatever is happening now, which is kind of vague and can be whatever we want it to be, which is the cool thing about it,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I lean, like you were saying, I have a bent for country, but then country pop,
Yeah. Where did did that start with you growing up listening to all that stuff, all the old classic country stuff, or?
No, it's funny because growing up, we didn't really listen to country in our house. It wasn't like it's like you can't listen to country in our house.
Right,
it was just, it wasn't the natural choice. I did listen. I mean, at some point I did start listening to Carole King and James Taylor. That was more on my own. I think I learned about Carole King and James Taylor through friends, maybe at acting camp and, that sort of thing. Like I learned about them through other people. We weren't really listening to it at home, but
gotcha.
Eventually I did.
So you currently live in Austin, Texas, right?
Yes.
Is that where you grew up? I don't know this about you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I grew up in New York.
Really? Were you born there?
Yeah, I was born there. I was born in a town called Huntington. It's on Long Island.
Cool.
It's about an hour outside of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So suburbs.
Sweet. And you were into acting school, obviously. Not going to let that go by without us talking about that. So before music at all, was it acting for you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it started off, I don't remember who brought up this acting camp that was on Long Island to me, but once I heard about it, I was on my parents. So,
sure.
Naturally, the way kids
absolutely.
do. So there was a camp called USDAN, and it was called Youth Dance Center for the Performing Arts.
Cool.
And so I went there. I must have started there when I was maybe 9 or 10, somewhere around that range.
Early.
Yeah. And it was kind of like a serious camp because you picked a major and a minor. And I had I was like vocal major and I was creative writing minor. And you would go for the summer, and I took all these lessons and stuff. Like I would go to chorus, so other kids are like hanging out over the summer. I'm in a full blown, like it was all outdoors. So it was like this outdoor auditorium space where we had a choral director, and they split everyone up by our vocal parts, and we would learn music and sing together and all that stuff. And then we'd also be preparing for the end of the summer. There was always a show.
Awesome.
And I don't think we've ever talked about this, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So do you know who Natalie Portman is?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, we were in a play together.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, so is she about your age?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's got to be. I mean, I don't know if she's like give or take a year or two, like.
And how was she?
Oh, she's great. She was.
Yeah. Sorry. You guys are like 10, right? 9 or 10?
Yeah. I think, maybe around 10. And like, I think we went there a couple years at the same time. Okay. So like 10, 11, 12, call it.
Got
it. And then what's kind of wild is I went to another acting camp that was upstate New York. She also went to that one. So we both like went to this one and then went to that one. Well, that one was like a sleepaway camp.
Okay. That is insane. And no, we have never talked about that. That is crazy cool.
Yeah.
And at that age, you were just kind of like whoever's the most extroverted kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because you're like you're just a young kid. Like,
oh yeah.
Was that fun back then doing it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. When I think back to that time, what I enjoyed the most was the chorus time, the hanging out with my friends time, the being silly and being ourselves time. When it came to the actual performance, I never really enjoyed that part.
Oh.
So, like when it came to that kind of stuff, I wasn't as
interesting.
I wasn't as into it.
That's interesting lines being drawn from what I know about you now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you don't. Well, you have performed. Just you don't do it a lot currently, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't do it a lot currently. I think I'm figuring out how I like to be seen.
Yeah.
How do I like to share what I do?
Totally part of it. Like that is that's such a big part of it. If you're wanting to do it with your own, just putting out your own, original music and playing it for people is hard enough on its own, but just figuring out how to do it is a whole nother thing.
Totally. And like, I've enjoyed recording from home.
Right.
I want to be sharing more of my own songs. I do.
Yeah.
Part of it is, there's a couple like layers to it. One part is that right now my bandwidth is not, I've got 2 little kids. Mm-hmm. So I feel like between that and working and music, I feel like there's a lot less of that like downtime where I can just be thinking about, what might I share? What might I do? So, which can be frustrating sometimes because I want to be able to share more and be more visible, but I'm working with what I'm working with, So like just the season of life, and there
are a lot of people in that position, what I mean? Like, and I totally understand. And, the whole social media thing probably doesn't help where you're seeing people do it and you're just like, I'm just kind of working I see it too, man. I'm not the biggest fan of social media, and I know that I have to be on it to put my music out there, but it's just, you see people out there doing it and you're like, man, I wish I could do that instead of what I'm working on right now. But everyone has their own speed.
Right.
Everyone can do things only as fast as they can do them. So
totally. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's right. I think everyone has their own speed and you kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for you, like Yeah, like having just a little part of your day where you can think about songwriting. That must be hard to come by. I mean, just from having to schedule things with you, I know for a fact. I just know that it's hard for you to like get away from, which is totally fine. It's what has to happen, but it must be really
Right.
hard to find just to get into that mind space too.
Well, what I try to do, so that music doesn't completely take over responsibilities on my end,
Mhm.
I have kind of set in my mind, how many writes in a week can I do?
Oh, cool.
You know, and things like that.
Yeah.
Not as a limitation to myself, but so that I am doing what I need to be doing in addition to music, you know?
Yeah.
So I'll say, for example, I'll do 2 to 3 writes in a week. And I keep that up pretty consistently. I've been doing that for a while. But once I have 2 writes in a week, then I'm like, okay, got to skip to the next week if someone asks.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
So I kind of do it like that.
Have you? Is this? And I don't know this either. Have you been to Nashville, or have you
Yes.
lived there, or?
No, I haven't lived there. So I'll tell you. So I've lived in New York, where I grew up, upstate New York for college, LA for a summer and then a year.
Gotcha.
I did study abroad for 4 months in London.
Love it.
And then other than that, Austin for the past 10 years.
Interesting. Because
Yeah.
the way that you talk about the session or the like the rights, you know what I mean? Like that's a very Nashville way to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, because I grew up around here. I mean, in Cincinnati, I grew up in Cincinnati and Covington, and I didn't really think about. And until I went to Nashville, people are like, "Oh, you got to get on this session and do this session and get on this right and do all that kind of stuff." And it's just a whole different ball game of what you're thinking about. And also, you know, collaboration is such a big part of it too. Because I grew up for the first 12 years of writing music just by myself with my dad. You know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
me
No,
and my parents, pretty much. Like,
yeah. So to answer your question about Nashville,
right.
I've been there twice.
Okay.
It was first time was years ago with some girlfriends, and it was before I was serious about songwriting. So I was there, but I wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't for songwriting. It was just I was hanging out with some of my friends.
Right.
And then the last time was in 2021, and when I went with a couple of friends, songwriter friends,
Right.
and we were there for a couple days.
Just writing the whole time.
We were writing. Yep, we were writing and hanging out and all that stuff. It was great.
That man, I'm the guy who's just like, I know it's hard to do logistically, but I want to make it happen where all 4 of us in our writing group can get together in the same room and make something, and just continually, like, even if it's for like a couple days, just write and write and write. Cause I want that in person, because we've only ever done it online.
Yeah.
Which has its own ups and downs, obviously.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. To what you were saying about like, getting to expand who you're writing with and writing in person and all that stuff. So for me, I started off on, Zoom was obviously 2020, everyone's 2020. And then it kind of continued for me. And I still do a lot of Zoom writes, but I'm in the same headspace as you, where I want to be doing more in-person stuff, like more writes. But obviously, it's also awesome. Like the relationships we've established over Zoom can obviously, they can, they're great over Zoom. It is nice to meet in person and to write in person with people. Totally. I think that happens a lot in Nashville. It happens here too, but I don't feel like it's as ingrained in
Austin.
I mean, it happens a lot, but I feel like in Nashville, everyone who I see who's there, it's like rights abound, like every day.
Almost too much so at this point, because I remember going there. Me and my wife went there for a concert back before we were married. So this must have been 2019 or 18 or something. And we got into an Uber, and we were just talking to the guy, we were talking to the driver and everything. And we were like, and my wife was, of course, just like, yeah, Charlie's a musician and all that stuff. And I wasn't really going to say any of that or whatever, but he was like, oh yeah, we get tons of those down here, probably like, 10,000 a month move to and I was just like,
Wow.
it was something crazy. It might not have been 10,000 a month, like actual writer, like songwriters wanting to make it in Nashville, but it was a
Right.
crazy number. And that was like 6 years ago. So,
Yeah.
and I've been back since, and I love Nashville. It's amazing. But as soon as you get into the city, it feels a little stressed for me. Like it just feels like there's too
Yeah.
much going on here. I can't breathe almost. And it just
Right.
kind of, but not everyone has that experience. There's people who live there and love it and all that stuff. So this is just my experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean though. It's like with when it's so concentrated, when the market is so concentrated,
Mm-hmm.
like when like the community is so concentrated.
Yeah.
I'm saying market, it's funny. I do branding and I'm like, when the marketplace is concentrated. No, but when the community is so concentrated with people doing exactly what you do,
Yes.
that's an interesting experience because
Mm-hmm.
is that what you're referring to mainly when you say you get
Yeah.
there and it feels like that? Okay, so it's not like, because like when I go to New York City, for example, because we'll go back to New York City,
Sure.
being from there and everything. That's obviously, it's a big city. There's a lot of people, a lot
Mhm.
going on, but I'm not going there for songwriting. So, you know what I mean? So I'm not,
Right.
I feel like with Nashville, if you're writing songs and you go, you can feel just like,
Mhm.
like the, how dense it is with people
It's very dense.
with the same,
Yeah.
obviously slightly varied or largely varied,
And not
treatment.
to say that they're not talented. Like there's so much talent in
Right.
everywhere, and it's easier now than ever to put your talent out there and all that stuff, and even to write your own songs and produce your own music and do all that stuff just from your bedroom or whatever. It's easier than ever to do that, and there's so much talent down there. And with the speed of Spotify and TikTok and all that stuff, all the social media stuff, it's like, this is a whole nother conversation we can get into, but it's just,
Yeah.
I feel like the big labels, are kind of catching up to what's like, they don't know what they're doing kind of thing. Like
Right.
they're just kind of having to play catch up with all these different streaming services and different social
Mhm.
media things. And then when we talk about all that stuff, I just want to write songs. Like, at the end of the day, I just want
Yeah.
to write a good song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you feel that way too.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I'm like, I've got like the Nashville thing on the brain right now.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like the thing is that I feel like when you go there, because there's like pros and cons with like, obviously everyone's doing exactly what you're doing would
Mhm.
be like a stressor potentially, right? But at the same time, anywhere you turn, you can meet a collaborator,
Yes.
right? So like the people that you're going to write with, you want to write for.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like it speeds up the process. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just makes it faster because it's probably quicker. You put a team together, like we were saying, it's in person,
Mhm.
All that stuff. So you can probably experience like a warp speed
Sure.
versus, when it's not every day, like
Mhm.
right in front of you,
Yeah.
It's just a fascinating thought.
That's one of the obvious
Yeah.
upsides of that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why people
Totally.
go there. And
Yeah.
it's been in my back of my head for my whole life, really. And I talk about it with my parents, and they're like, the more time that goes on, do you really need to be in the play? Maybe just
Right.
visiting there a couple times
Yeah.
a year can do it. And
Totally.
and scheduling rights there a couple times a year, and
Totally. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that
still-
maybe that can suffice for, instead of living there, instead of having to be
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Then you can kind of like like you can have the experience and then go home to like it not being.
there. Yeah, exactly. And you
Yeah.
can continue writing back home,
And you can continue writing back home.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just
Totally.
I didn't have, like, again, just like you were talking about earlier with the pandemic and musicians and all that stuff. Like I lost I lost my job, like I lost all my gigs and all that stuff from
Mhm.
2020 basically, and this is the first year that I've been back at it full time, like full on back at it. This is the first year that it's been fully back, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a lot of experience co-writing anyway in the first place. And then the first chances I got were over Zoom, and I was like, all right, this is a little better than writing by yourself, right?
Yeah.
You get other people's ideas on it, but it's not. I just feel like there's magic to be sought out in a room with people, and you can't necessarily get that over Zoom. But
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah. Oh, totally.
you
Yeah.
can,
No.
but
Yeah.
it's harder.
Yeah. When you go to Nashville, do you drive there, or I can't remember? You do, right?
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 hour drive.
It's only 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I know. But
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I could totally see how you
Yeah.
could not live there, but you could even do. How is it if you wanted to get gigs there, but you don't
Mhm.
live there? Is that difficult?
Not really. It's only difficult in the fact of trying to make money or break even kind of thing. Like, because
Got it. Yeah.
bars, clubs, restaurants, all that stuff, they don't want to pay you in the first place. Not all of them. Just everyone's trying to save money, which is fine, and all that stuff. And they're, I'm sure they would rather, if they can save money, hire a local than have me come out and pay for my travel. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and also my
Right.
stay.
Right. Because for you to come, exactly, you'd have to yeah.
Because I
Be
used
like
to, because I used to do that just for the fact there was a bar I used to play in, and hopefully I'll get back. But there was a bar I used to play called The Goat in Nashville and Murfreesboro, which is right next to Nashville.
Mm.
And I used to go, and I think I just used to go there just to be in Nashville. Like, I don't even know, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
there was a time when I had a band for like 2 seconds. And we got a gig out in like Alabama or something, and we had this gig along the way. So it was kind of like, hey, now I have contact in Nashville to go play. But
Cool. Yeah.
but I'm sure since then they've gotten inquiries from tons of people who want to play there, and they would rather hire someone who lives there than pay me more money for all that stuff. And
Yeah, to go in or whatever. Yeah, it would have to be it could be part of like a larger trip where like other, there's other
like a tour.
Factors. Yeah,
but
like a tour.
and touring
like
is a whole man.
I'm like, it's like a trip. It's like a music trip.
It's a music trip. What do they call that?
I think I've heard of it. It would have to be a tour.
And I've thought about that too, but it is just,
Yeah.
it all comes down to how you present your original music and how you want that to be done. Do you want to hire a band? Do you want to do it all yourself? There's obviously ups and downs to both.
Yeah. I know you did that festival over the summer. What was that like for you when, I know this is your podcast, but
That's
I
okay.
have questions.
That's okay.
The festival that you did this summer, you were performing solo.
Yeah.
Were you ever like, I wish I had a band with me, or you liked doing it solo? Like, what was your take on that?
I'm so used to doing it solo now that I kind of don't think I thought about it a lot. I really only have experience like a handful of playing my stuff with a band, even less than that. Like playing my own original music. I don't think I've ever done that with a full band. I would like to. It's always a conversation in the back of my head, but then it's always like, well, how are you going to pay for it? How are you going to pay them? How are you going to are you going to just be willing to lose money for a couple times a month per gig, like a couple gigs per month?
Right.
Just to get a band going. You know what I mean?
Just to get a band going.
Which is why I would love to talk to, people in my position. There's friends of mine around here who have bands. But again, everyone has a different situation as far as financials go and what other kind of jobs they have, if they have another job or not. Like,
right.
So it's always interesting people's perspectives on that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then the types of music, right? Because it's like if you don't want it to be like a in out kind of thing,
right,
and you want it to be like a band for for any certain period of time, then everyone's got to kind of be on the same page with, we like this sound.
Right.
We have the same goals. We're like, you know what I mean? So it's all those things.
And also like back to the festival thing, like when I did South by Southwest in March and then Summerfest in, what was that?
June?
May or June or something,
yep,
which is in Milwaukee. And I lost money both times. Like it was on my own dime. Like I did all that stuff on my own dime. And I would have liked to have had maybe a duo trio kind of thing happening. I don't know. I mean, it just, it also, and also the industry, I think, likes that more when you can like the more you can perform your actual original music. Obviously, people are going to notice that and be like, "Oh, this guy can go on tour and do stuff and like play his songs out, and it doesn't have to be just produced stuff." And so all these things are always in the back of my head.
Yeah, and it's in the back of my mind now.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about TikTok and like circling back like to all that kind of stuff. Well, just like if it wasn't about how much you made during that show, like if it wasn't like if it didn't come down to that, like if there were just other streams, you know what I mean? Like if something from TikTok like became an avenue where then it's like, okay, shows are just for fun. Like it's not about, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it could kind of, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
I think about like the setup right now with the,
Well, what would you do? Like, would you, if something were to happen with one of your songs, say, would you look for a band? I mean, you would look for a band, right? Like maybe if you had a fan base who wanted you to come out and play, do a music tour. What did you call it before? A music?
I was like
a music vacation.
I don't remember what it called. I don't think I called it a vacation because I know it's hard. But I think I just was saying you'd have to go on the road. Yeah,
something like that.
That was funny.
But your first instinct maybe it would be to hire a backing band to play your original stuff. And
I guess if I got to that, like I hadn't really gotten to that point yet where I've thought about that.
It's
like
weird
I've thought,
to think about.
I feel like there's a lot of room to do like to sing solo and have recordings, like for example, like the recordings, the productions that you're doing for my songs, and songs that we've written together and songs that I've written with other people where there are productions, right? So right now it's like I have a way to write, sing, record, share, and I could figure out how to, I think the next step would be figuring out how to monetize that.
Yeah.
I think the band thing, it hasn't popped on the brain a whole lot.
Right.
And I think about all those things like dynamics of the band. I'm like, I'm not a big drama person. I feel like there's drama in a band.
I know.
Like this person's not showing up, and then this person, has XYZ going on. And I could imagine that feeling like you can't get as much, like you can get stuff done, but then you also are like, there's always something to like manage and deal with and all that stuff. So I have that kind of, I don't know.
No,
I don't know what movie put that in my head, but it did.
Oh, it must have been what's the name?
Oh, Almost Famous.
Almost Famous. I was gonna say.
Yeah. You watch that once and you're like, I don't need a band.
Yeah. And then
I don't even need a band.
You go, and then from there you're like, all right, so what's my solo act gonna be? Is it gonna be me playing background music and all that stuff? Which I have thought about a lot, seriously, but also I feel like, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, is that it's not cheating, but like, is it, if you're one person up there and you're playing the rest of the record basically behind you, like with just from the speakers and except for acoustic guitar, maybe and vocals. I have a thought in my head, like that's not real. Like it's not as cool as it could be.
It's not as cool as it could be. I agree with you.
Like
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think it would be more like it's an acoustic show. If you're doing a show, it's acoustic.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's like the larger I remember like the competition that was going to be at the Hollywood Bowl, right? I forget what it was called.
It's happening right now, actually.
It's happening right now?
Again, yeah.
Okay. So something like that. Yeah. So what are those people doing? They're all out there with bands?
Yeah, I guess I would have.
You would put if you were playing the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, I would have put together a band.
You would put together a band.
And they wouldn't have wanted money. If they did, that's ridiculous because they would have gotten.
Yeah, you're like, you're getting. Look what you're getting.
Well, but so many people have that thought too. It's like we're paying you an exposure. It's like, well, come on. I mean,
no. I hear you. People have to live. They have to eat.
I know.
They have to. Yeah.
But Hollywood Bowl exposure is different.
But Hollywood Bowl exposure, it's not. You're not saying meet me at the restaurant.
Yeah, it's
in town. And I'm not paying you. You're like, let's all figure out how to collectively get out to the Hollywood Bowl and let's see what happens from that. no one's going to say no as long as they could legitimately get there.
And I had thoughts of like, and we could hire this videographer friend of mine to come along and we could like make the most out of it on social media and like,
oh my gosh,
put out, and in some ways
yes.
that is also helping as well as exposure down there. But
yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. You maximize that.
Yeah.
Like you do the experience and then you maximize. There's so much to share, talk about. There's so much people want to know about that experience that lends itself so well to all the storytelling.
But you would hire a band. I mean, right?
Oh, if I was going to Hollywood Bowl, yes.
Well, just anywhere on tour. If you got
I mean, if I was going on tour, I just hadn't really thought about it a whole lot. But yes, if I was, or you know what I probably do, considering I feel like a band might equal drama, I have to change that belief. Is that you just could have two people? You know what I mean? Like two extra people. It's not a band. It's not a band.
Okay,
it's a trio.
You're on.
So maybe it's somebody who plays another instrument,
bass and drum,
maybe, yeah.
And you're on piano and vocal.
Then it's a band.
I can see that. But again, I like, and I've been, and this is just like you just said about getting that out of your head about the band being drama. I have to get that out of my head too, because it's like I've been alone for so long, just kind of just doing my own thing for so long that maybe that's what is making me want to just not have a band at all and just continue and do it on my own and all that stuff. And just from past experiences, but it's also good to try new stuff. And
oh yeah, it's also good to try new stuff. I mean, yeah, it could be an interesting experience for sure. And yeah,
but what I don't want to do is fire a band member because there's too much drama.
Oh my gosh, fire a band member.
You out.
You're out. You're not committed.
Yeah, I mean, part of me would feel okay about doing that just because it's my face and voice and I'm in my original music.
Oh, totally. If someone was effing around, you're out.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, or woman.
Yeah, come on, man or woman.
I kind of but I don't. Well, what I do, and I've done this before, where I've gone through auditions for a band. I've auditioned, and it's just it's hard because you got to go through a lot of stuff. It's just finding the perfect people right off the bat is obviously really hard. So.
Yeah, that's the interesting part, I guess, huh?
Yeah. But
yeah.
Yeah,
but interesting. It's definitely interesting, and I agree. I don't think. I mean, the story from Almost Famous doesn't have to be the story for us. Like you could.
Are we starting a band? Are me and you starting?
Well, no, our band.
Let's do it.
It's not the story for our band.
We're already a songwriting team, production team. We're already
totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're starting that.
And by the way, a side note.
Yeah.
With this, because you guys were in on back to the kitschy sink, which is what we call ourselves. Thanks, Charlie Dunn. If we ever are out there as a production team, songwriting team, that's our name. How well we clicked immediately. Mm-hmm. All four of us, really.
Yeah.
And you guys were together before me, so I kind of felt like I was like this outsider coming in. I didn't know how well it was going to work. Like I just didn't know what was going on. I just knew that you guys were ahead of me as in collaborate, like as far as collaboration and all that stuff goes.
Yeah. So I think we all came together because of Charlie. So basically Charlie I think he knew Brad first.
All from Songtown?
I don't remember where he met Brad.
I'm talking to Charlie tomorrow.
I can't remember if it's, we're going to have to ask Charlie. Let's phone him in.
You know what? We actually could.
But, we should patch in Charlie. We're like, Charlie, just.
Oh, he's on Hawaii time. Whenever I text him, it's like, oh, it's going to deliver it to him quietly because he's asleep or something. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
You're like, I want to deliver to him loudly.
I want to let him
know.
And he also, he will always text me when it's like midnight or 1 o'clock my time and be like, oh, we should do this song together. And I'm like, great. I'm in bed.
He's like having lunch.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's awesome. I love Trey.
Oh, he's awesome. Yeah, he's great. So I think he knew Brad first, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes. Okay.
And then he and I met through Songtown, and that was like toward the end of 2020.
Okay.
And I remember when he was like, "Hey," he's like, I think because at the time we weren't calling you he wasn't calling you CJ because you were Charlie, right? You're CJ when it's Charlie and you and Brad,
when we're all
right?
Together, yeah.
When we're all together, but I think he said, "Oh, I met this guy, Charlie."
Yeah, I was on Songtown for like a hot second.
Yeah.
And
he found you in that hot
he
second?
found me in that hot second, and he reached out, and yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Charlie is, I think, he's awesome at curating the teams. Like he just does it really well. Like he'll write with someone and he's like, "Oh, I think you should come in on this, right?" Or
He's a
I
matchmaker.
feel like what's that?
He's a matchmaker.
He's a matchmaker. He's a music matchmaker.
And a damn good songwriter.
And a damn good songwriter.
I've started to use some of his, because whenever we write, it's so funny because he's just like off doing his own lyrics. Like he'll be quiet for like a long time and then have like the whole song written.
Oh, I know.
After that. And you're
I'm like, that is the best
Charlie,
line.
what the hell? And he's like, yeah. And then I feel like he has so much experience as a lyricist and specifically as a lyricist. And he kind of knows that that's what he is, but he also is a great melody writer. And I just think he's really, he's really good.
Yeah. And I think And so, on top of that, he's also great at putting teams together. So I think he was like, oh, Charlie, he mentioned, and everyone was like, yes. And I think you had a song start. I think it was the Where Were You songs. So you had a song start. So you do, since it's the first podcast, so people don't know everything you do, right?
Sure.
But you write songs, you sing, you produce, you do all of those things, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the trifecta.
Yeah.
So you had been chatting with Charlie and had a song start that had a melody to it, had some lyrics, had you singing on it, and you had shared it with him. And then I think he had shared it with us, or I can't remember how it all went down, but we were like, oh my gosh.
Well, it was a meet and greet Zoom, right?
Okay, so maybe ahead of then, I just knew who you were.
Yeah, we just met, and then I think I was going to play you something from one of my folders.
Yeah.
And I have, it was just like I have so many, like just verse choruses, just because, and I don't know, that's a whole other thing again. I need to get better at finishing songs. But
it's actually perfect for us.
I know.
Because it's
there you go. Exactly. And I played this one, and we had the vibe down was cool, and then I think you guys, and especially with your voice, because you're singing on it, you're with your voice on it, and with Charlie's writing and Brad's help too. It plays electric solo in there, like there's all that stuff is in that final.
Everyone exactly.
And it's really cool because it kind of jumped up from where it was, you know what I mean, like or where it could have gone with just me. So I was really happy with that song.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always said, and I feel like, I think it's such a gift when someone comes in and they're like, here's the start of an amazing song. Do you want to work on it? And it's like, yes. It makes it very easy to write the rest of it when you already have this idea in your mind, you already have a sound. And when everyone's already subscribed to that whole picture, it's like, okay, yeah, let's finish it. And I just remember feeling like, wow, this is a gift. And obviously it works well for everybody. It serves everybody.
Yeah.
Just so well in a situation like that.
Yeah. And I wish we could get together more often. Honestly, I really
know.
do.
So we'll all have to.
It's just about schedule. I mean, we're all in different parts of the world, literally.
Yes.
Brad's all over the fucking place. I don't know if we're going to swear on this.
So Brad's from Kent, which is where he lives there. I don't actually know where Brad was born. Kent?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I was just thinking.
Well, he lives outside of London in
Cheerio.
I was going to say a town, but I forget. Oh my God, I lived in London. I should know this, but in a
for what? For months? Did you say 4 months?
Just for 4 months.
Well, you're studying. You're busy studying.
I was going to say a town, but I don't know if he would call it a town. Like it'd be
I don't know.
What do they call it in Canada?
Pub? I have no idea.
He lives in a pub.
I want to go. I've never been.
Yeah. Oh,
I want to go to London.
London is amazing, and I love it. And I haven't been back since I was there, which was over 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here's a thought that I've talked about and I thought about recently is just the fact of people in my position over here as far as my fan base or whatever you want to call it goes. They go over and they tour overseas. You know what I mean? And because it's smaller over there. There's not as many people. like, if you're going to go tour in England or whatever, it's a smaller place, or they're more welcoming of American music. I don't really know, but and people have done it who are on my level, and they've done it successfully. Like, and that's something I've thought about too. So I don't know.
Maybe that's where we should all meet up. It's funny. Everyone from so Charlie's Hawaii. I'm Austin, Texas.
Yeah,
and yourself?
I was born in Lansing, Michigan. Raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, and now I live in Covington, Kentucky. So just Midwest boy all around.
Yeah, Midwest. Yeah.
And then Brad is,
and then Brad's outside of London. It's like, three out of the four of us are here. Although Hawaii's not here.
Hawaii's
not here.
And also, but Brad's on cruise ships all the time.
Yeah,
like he's a full-time cruise ship musician.
Yeah,
which is killer, and he's such a great. He's also, and we're just, this is a big compliment fest over here, but we're just talking like he's such a great melody writer and also a singer and performer. Oh, yeah. I think he's really, which again leads me back to I want to be all in the same room. I want to write. Yeah,
maybe the room is in London.
Oh, now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Let's
go over there. And we all just crash.
Yeah. The Royal, does anybody even know anybody in London?
Hello. We're all here.
I looked it up, like Airbnbs and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, exactly. We don't need to literally crash at his house.
No, because we were talking about, doesn't Charlie have a place? No, we're blowing up a spot, but I can cut this out. But doesn't Charlie have a place in Colorado?
He does, yes.
That we were potentially looking
at. That we could meet there too. So we can meet there. But if you wanted to do the whole, like if you wanted to go there and like suss it out for like a tour or something like that, that's kind of cool.
Now my brother lives in Denver.
Your brother lives in Denver, yeah.
I think Charlie said it was 3 hours away from where.
Yeah, that's not. Do you know what's right outside Denver?
What?
Also, Red Rocks.
Oh,
and I've never been.
Aaron's been, my brother's been a bunch of times.
I've never been and I want to go.
I know.
So I feel like you fly into Denver. It's like 20 minutes away or something insane like that.
Yeah.
I feel like if we do Charlie's house, we have to have a Red Rocks
show. We got to go play Red Rocks.
For us. Yeah.
Got to get together. Oh, for sure. That's definitely like, I'm going to go,
right?
I'm trying to go visit him later this year. And we're definitely going to go to a show. And
I thought you were talking about Charlie.
No. Aaron.
Yeah, your brother.
My brother.
Yeah.
And who just got engaged, by the way. Surprise.
So you will go out there because there's gonna be lots to celebrate. He is engaged.
Well, I don't know if we're doing it here or there. I don't know. But anyway,
or somewhere else.
That was a side note.
Well, that totally is, and that's a really easy option to get to fly into Denver.
Yeah.
And then to go to Charlie's house.
But that's what
we're like Charlie.
But wait, does he live in Denver or is it somewhere? Is it?
He lives in. I mean, where his place is. I think maybe a couple of hours outside.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying.
A couple hours, maybe west of. I think I know that, but I'm not like.
Honestly, like I can see that working for us three, but Brad could be. It'd be harder for Brad. I mean, we'd have a place to stay, obviously, at Charlie's place because he has enough bedrooms. This turned into us just talking about our plans without Charlie being here. We're gonna just dump all this on him, like we want to come.
No, but you've already mentioned, like, or he's already mentioned. I think he
mentioned us.
He mentioned, not you.
He invited us.
You've already said this.
It looks beautiful. The place looks awesome.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah. For Brad, I feel like he would probably like tack on some other, like he'd go there and then maybe like if he's in the States, I feel like that'd be hard to like go and then just leave. Like I feel like he'd probably be like, oh, well, could I do Nashville then too? Could I do, And so I feel like there's other factors for him, but that would be an extension of his trip.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I would have to be
his tour.
That would be his tour. And it would have to be for me at least early next year at the earliest. It would have to be.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, the next
spring.
thing, I mean, yeah, the fall flies and then it's holidays and then it's spring.
Holidays and family.
It's family
time. Gotta go visit. Now that I'm married, I gotta go somewhere else, visit her family. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Where does her family live?
Well, this year, they're all in North Carolina. Her mom and brother and...
you said this year they're all...
Oh, no. They're all... My
a traveling family.
my wife like grew up and lived in Lexington, and then
Oh,
her
okay.
mom just
Cool.
moved from
Mhm.
like 2018 or 17. She moved to Asheville, North Carolina.
I have been wanting to go to Asheville.
It's
Asheville's on my list.
very pretty.
so-
I've never been there
Yeah.
as far. Well, I've visited places there just with family stuff, but I never, because I hear there's great music there too.
I wouldn't doubt it at all. I feel like in a mountain town.
Yeah, man, they got
Get some
good
folk.
bluegrass stuff happening.
Bluegrass, yes.
And then anyway, her brother lives in Durham. So we will go to either Asheville or Durham for Christmas this year.
Awesome. Are you going to like pull for one or the other? Or are you going to be like,
Nah,
oh,
it kind of just depends on, because her brother just had another baby. So it kind of just depends on how much room each person has.
And what they want to do. Like, I feel like when you just have
Yeah.
a baby, you're like, I don't know.
You're like,
I mean, everyone's
yeah.
so different. For me, I'd be
Right.
like, I don't really want to travel.
No, I totally get it. Like we went there for Thanksgiving last year when she was really young, their newborn. And we had to stay at like an Airbnb just because they didn't have enough room because of the baby. So
because of the baby,
it's all that's like,
whatever
family stuff.
Yeah, it totally. It's like life just changes.
I want to host here because I don't want to travel anywhere.
Yeah.
But I think that will happen. That will start happening if and when we were to have kids. But
yeah, you're like, when we have kids, I'll be hosting.
It's turning into a parenting podcast. It's a life.
So, Charlie, yeah.
Wait, how old are your kids, by the way? Do I know
My
this?
kids are almost 8.
Okay.
And then almost 5. I got 2 little boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Almost 8 and almost 5.
So they're, and I think like when I started getting back into like songwriting, because I guess like I had done it before and got back into it. It was when my second one was like 6. I think the seed was planted. Not that it was like I was starting, but like around when he was 6 months, I was like, I can't forget about myself.
Totally.
And with the second one, like I told myself I would make sure that I didn't forget about the things I love to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was like a spark.
Yeah.
There anyway. So now, when I think about it, it's like that was when he was 6 months old and he's about to be 5.
Wow.
So that's like really like the time. So that 4.5 years is about when I started. I mean, I wasn't co-writing when he was 6 months old, but that was like the mental note of, ooh.
And that's when you started like the 2 to 3 times writing?
No. It was like the year after that I started writing again. Okay. The year after that I started co-writing. It was it wasn't with that frequency at all.
Okay.
Yeah, it was slow going.
Do they have any interest in music at all? Or can you see that yet? I don't know. I'm not a parent.
Well, so Wes, my oldest son, so he got to sing on your parents.
Oh, that's right.
The job for your parents.
Yeah. My parents run an audio production company, and I think it was a jingle.
It was.
And I've heard that he loved it. I heard that he loved doing it. He sounded great. And
yeah, he enjoyed doing it, and he likes making money.
Sure,
so
don't we all?
He's excited. He's like, "Where's the money?"
But
not where's the money from your parents, but where's it from me?
Exactly.
Once I had it, he's like, "Where'd you put it?"
But other than that, like, have either of them wanted to do anything like that or sing or?
I think that they're they take interest, I think, to a certain degree because it's what I'm doing. So there's They love music. Mm-hmm. They always like in the car. They want to, they have certain songs they want to hear and stuff. Right. So they are naturally interested in music. They'll ask for songs. Our youngest says, he's like the other day. He's like, I want to hear a rock song, and I put on a song. It was like Rolling Stones. I think I put on like Beast of Burden or something. And he's like, I want a song that kicks in. And he was like really upset. He's like, I want a song that kicks in. No. It has to kick in. It has to kick in. He's 4. Obviously he's almost 5. Right. I like always want to call him 4. But they both really like music, and they both like to sing every night before. My youngest goes to bed. He wants to hear Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and sing along. Which I know is like, I mean, part of that is just your parents are singing
great
too,
song.
but he likes to sing. He likes
Yeah.
to sing. It's a really good
Solid
song.
Do you?
And then,
go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was gonna say, and then like, so we got the piano, and they'll come in here and kind of like clunk around on it a little bit, but like, you know,
Yeah.
And then I got a guitar, and I'm learning how to play slowly. But they'll be like, "Oh, can I
Sure.
can I play on the guitar?" So they're interested.
Great. That's
Yeah.
I mean, and you obviously you're not gonna, I don't know if you're gonna want to push them into it or just have them keep going, you know. My parents actively tried to keep me out of music.
Out of music, yeah.
Just because they had been so beaten down by it, and it's really not an easy industry, as is anything in entertainment. I don't think it's to start is just ugh, man.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought about like them like actually like if they pursue it or not. It'll be interesting as they get older,
right? Yeah, I guess you wouldn't be thinking about that right now unless they were like, I want to gig.
Yeah, if they said I want to get, like, I know like my oldest wants a YouTube channel.
Ooh,
it's like that is like apparent. And so he talks about it with enthusiasm. So I think it's exactly. Like if he were to talk about music with that kind of enthusiasm, we would get him started.
Okay.
But so far they're just listening and singing. They do sing some of my songs around the house sometimes.
You have good songs.
So they'll be like, I need a hug. Yeah. They're singing it around the house.
Which, by the way,
funny.
You approached me, must have been like 5-6 months ago now. And you wanted me to produce your EP for you. You have an EP coming out that is, you have, how many songs are out now from it?
Yeah, so I have one out. So there's one song out, and then
called I Need a High.
Well, the one that is out is End All Be All.
End All Be All's out. Okay, sorry.
End All Be All's out. Yeah. No, I know. We've had them all.
That's
they're
just
all
the last
on our
one I was
periphery.
thinking about, I think.
Yeah. You're like, it's cold.
Yeah.
No, so there's End All Be All's out.
Yes.
I Need a High. We're finishing up.
Great song.
And then I think what happened was there were others. So I'm going to take a step back. What I'm finding, or what I would do in the future, is before I do an EP, I would finish, before I release anything, I would finish all of the songs.
Okay.
Because we finished one, I was pumped, got it out. I know the one that I want to be the last song. And then when I got to the second song, which we had started one, I was like, I don't know if I'm still like, if I still love the song itself enough right now to put it out. And I feel like if I had them all done, like they made all those decisions, then I could have released them in a somewhat, like EP fashion.
Sure.
Like I released the first one in April, and now we're in August, and I think I'm like, oh, what did I do?
And that brings up, and that's also one of the, it's a con of being able to do it like everything by yourself. Like you don't necessarily have a label watching over you or anybody like kind of keeping you accountable, which is good and bad, obviously.
Right. It's good and bad.
It's great because obviously I don't want to have to play my music for executives ever. And be like, hey, which song should be the single? You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be in that position. But that's how they do it. You know what I mean? Like that's how, and I think that's for a good reason is exactly what you were talking about. And I'm going through the same thing right now where it's like, because you've spent so much time with these songs, right? You're not going to feel the same about it now as you did when you first wrote it.
Convo.
We've talked about this before. So it's like you kind of have to be diligent in yourself and be like, okay, when I first heard it, what was my initial reaction? Because you're going to be obviously sharing with people who haven't heard it before,
right?
Who haven't heard any of these songs before, and I still think they're great songs, and it's worth putting out. I get that from a songwriter's perspective, especially when you've had these songs for so long and they've been maybe unreleased for so long. And then you're like, well, you might even have newer songs or quote unquote better songs that may not even be better. They're just newer.
Right. I really want to be writing more stuff right now that I could use.
There you go.
Like I do a lot of co-writing and I love it.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm not always thinking about like my personal project, like for me.
Yeah.
And I would like to be writing more songs that I'm like, hell yeah, love the song. I have to put
I
it
want to be
out.
the one to sing it. Like you gotta.
Yeah, and I want to be the one to sing it. Exactly.
No, I totally get. And your vibe is like you have a phenomenal voice. Everyone go listen to
Thank
it.
you.
Her name is Lauren Patton. It's End All Be All's out now. Yeah, I produced it. But it's great. I think you have a really just, and I've talked about this with a lot with people who are in the industry, but both my parents agree your raw voice is just like something that is just it's very rare. It's really great. Like it sounds like a Maren Morris kind of type. Like that's like your vibe is like a Maren Morris. Also, like I was listening recently to like Brandy Carlisle. You're kind of in that world ish.
Yeah.
But your songwriting is definitely more Maren Morris. And
yeah, thank you.
And again, your raw voice is just so freaking good.
Thank you.
Which is why I want to work with you as much as I can. Just because you find talent, you want to hang on to it. So
totally. I feel like I feel the same way when I'm saying totally. I'm not talking about my own voice. I'm talking totally when you find people that you like,
right?
What they
which
do,
is what like
you want to work with
us
them.
three
Yeah.
in the group.
Totally.
Us four,
yes. Yeah.
But we're so it's logistically a nightmare to kind of get us all.
It is logistically a nightmare
because everyone's free on. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
We'll take that to text.
I do want before we go, I do want to talk a little bit about sync and writing for TV film.
Okay.
So that's what Songtown is all about, right? So is that all about, or is it just about like songwriting in general?
It's songwriting in general, and then they have sync courses. They have sync publishers, so you can do. They call them the edge groups, and you can do like a country edge group. You can do a sync edge group. So I think now they have a pop edge group.
Mm-hmm.
So you are connected to publishers that are looking specifically for sync songs.
So they'll
to be able to pitch them
like leads and stuff.
Yeah. I think that's right. I've never done that.
Okay.
I've never done like the sync edge group. I've done the country edge group on there.
Yeah, and they'll have someone from a label or something on like a Zoom call, like
a publisher.
Or a publisher. So So Charlie's done this.
Yep. Yeah. Charlie's done this, and then you'll have an assignment due each month. They meet once a month.
Okay.
And for that next meeting, you are preparing something based on what they know is going on. So if it's like my experience was in the country space, so they'd say, "Oh, so and so is looking for a song."
Okay.
So you would work on a song that's for that person.
And are you still like doing that consistently?
I'm not. I did that for a year, and it was great. I have not. I haven't done that in a minute.
Okay.
So, but it's great, and I see a lot of value in it. I see why everyone, why people love it.
The guys that started it are huge writers, right? Aren't they big time?
Oh yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't necessarily know their names unless you're scanning writing credits, but
yep, yeah, it's Marty Dotson and Clay Mills are the two guys.
Yeah, and that's been. And anyway, so for some reason in my head I was like, it's just about sync and TV and film and all that stuff with them. But
no. Yeah.
But it's just all about songwriting and all that and that kind of thing. But
that's right.
For us, when we all got together as a writing group, we wanted to at first target TV and film kind of a thing. And that's a different beast than writing for your own voice or writing for someone in specific, because you.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that? Like what's the difference between writing for yourself and writing for TV film specifically?
The biggest thing I can think of is like for TV. I mean, there's a couple schools there are songs that an artist might create for themselves and release that is perfect for sync. So like as is, if you're writing for, and then it really depends on if you're writing for a pitch or what the use of your song would be. I think like the biggest thing I always hear is around having space in a song. And then also you don't have to, and you don't want to really get into a storyline heavily, because that song is going to be placed over a storyline. So you don't want conflicting storylines.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff is like the more generic lyrics, the better kind of thing, but still have them be powerful lyrics and all that stuff.
Right. Right, right. However, I know of somebody who has a lot of involvement in sync, and he has said that he's like, it can be. I mean, a sync song. It's like there's different varieties of it, because literally, you Charlie John, you release a song,
Mhm.
you could take your song that you didn't write for sync,
Mhm.
and it could wind up on a TV show,
Right. Because
You know?
it's, and I, again, yeah, we've talked with, there's different ways, obviously, just like you were talking about, of getting into it. You
Right,
can have, eventually you want to, buddy up and, and kind of have contacts with music supervisors, who are people who select music for TV and film and all that stuff. And
right.
at that point, they will start to send you specific leads. But in the beginning,
Yes.
which is what we're kind of
Mhm.
I'm doing it right now. I mean, you send to production houses and people that just have libraries of music that clients go to,
Right, right.
and pick music. But I wanted
Yeah.
to, like, if you were to say, so how long have you actually been known about sync and writing with that intention and all that stuff? Or
I've known about it, I don't know, maybe 3 years, something like that.
okay.
And I remember at the time that I heard about it, thinking, didn't sound that fun or
No,
something. Like,
man, when I
right
was, yeah,
there's a feeling, and now I have a completely
yeah,
different
it's
opinion
180,
on it.
man.
A
When I
180. I
was,
did a 180.
so again, my dad is my mentor and taught me everything I know and all that stuff. So he taught me how to write and produce and everything I do. And early on, like early on, he was like, you got to get into TV and film, like just do it. And I would
Yeah,
just blow
yeah.
him off. I'm just like, Dad, that sounds so boring. It's so I don't want to do that. It
Right,
sounds
right.
awful. And then he's continually keeps saying it, like he's saying it today, and he's right. You know what I mean?
You're
Like,
like, he's saying it
yeah,
now.
exactly. It's not the most glamorous job in music. Obviously, it's not the most
Right.
glamorous job in writing songs. You're not writing for, top people all the time. You're writing for, Walmart commercial or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right,
But,
right.
um,
No, it makes sense.
that, and I just remember blowing him off, being like, Dad, that's never gonna be a thing that I think. And for some reason, there's some kind of switch in your brain at some point where you're like,
Something switches.
man,
Yeah, and
you're like, the rest of this industry sucks. I'm just gonna.
you're like, that sounds great. Yeah, like you completely. It was a 180.
So if that's
for
the
me
one
too.
thing, if you want to get into it, you need to like stick with it. Like don't blow it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
if there was one thing
Yep.
I would tell myself back then,
Yeah,
don't think you're better than it just because you think,
right.
just because you. I don't even know why I thought it was better than that. I was like, no.
Yeah. No.
I remember thinking before my first songs were out, I was like, man, the world's not even ready for these songs. They're gonna blow up. They're gonna do so well, and then
Oh, totally. Yeah.
nothing. It's all about pushing, marketing, money, all that stuff. So.
Yeah, and putting like you were saying, like being dedicated to it.
But yeah, if there was one thing you could tell yourself about writing for sync, I mean, what would it be now?
If I was to tell myself something about writing for sync, what would it be?
Yeah, before you started.
Before I started, what would I tell myself about writing for sync before I started? Yeah, but it would probably be along the same lines. Like, really think about that.
Hmm.
That sounds like a great idea. That's a great way to be creative and make money.
Mm-hmm. It's
right.
Yeah, and just like anything else, it's a volume game.
Right. It's a volume game.
And I don't know if I would be. There's something about, and I still don't. Again, just like you were talking about earlier. Whether we're right, if you want to, like, how to know the difference between writing a song for yourself as an artist or if it's going to be a song for sync.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I totally 100% know that difference yet.
I think for your stuff, there probably isn't that much of a difference.
I don't know. I mean, is that
right?
But is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, I don't know.
No, I think it's a great thing.
Okay.
I think it's like, it means that like what you create, you can use across mediums.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like people to use my music too. Like, use all of our music.
Yeah. 100%. So you're in a couple libraries now. You're in a few libraries now, right?
I'm really starting slow, wanting to work with, because again, finding libraries who are worth working with and who will keep you in mind, keep you at the forefront of your mind, and actively pitch you, and having it turn into actual money is something that is like, oh, I want to keep these guys around, because there's a lot of libraries who will just stick you in there on their website, and then they don't remember you. Like they'll just forget about the song. But
yeah, I always hear like, if you're starting out, like doing like, I mean, I'm not like, I'm not the I was gonna say the Bible for this, or like the, because I'm learning as I go as well. But if you're a non-exclusive in libraries, then you can be in as many libraries as you want.
Right.
Versus if you're exclusive and then your song is tied, which means that your song is exclusively with a particular house,
right,
publisher, library.
They usually have shorter contracts too.
And if you're exclusive with them, then that song is completely with them. So you really want to have faith and know that they are going to be, actively helping you find homes for it, right?
Generally, the exclusive libraries do, just on the face of non-exclusive or exclusive libraries will be more active in getting you, in trying to get you things, because also they don't have your song for that long. As long as like a non-exclusive could have it for as long as they want, like in perpetuity, because you could keep pitching it no matter what. But
right.
But yeah, so I'm working with you gotta just go one at a time, and all this stuff again. It takes time. It's just like and don't be too precious about certain songs. I mean, there's certain songs where you're like, man, I wish that could be. That's a really good sync song. It could be in an exclusive library. I know it for a fact, but you just got to keep writing and just.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's exactly it. Keep writing. And as you meet people and as opportunities present themselves, it all just kind of.
It kind of
unfolds.
It kind of just, I don't know. We're in the music industry. I like it so far.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs.
Yeah.
To everything that we do. But I think we're done. I think we are done. Do you want to tell anybody where to go to find your music?
Sure. Everything. So if you go to, I'm on all the major streaming platforms. So Spotify and Apple and all of them. I'm even on Deezer.
Yeah.
Are you on Deezer?
I think it just automatically goes. I don't know one person who uses it.
I check all the boxes. I'm like, sure. Yes. Deezer as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm everywhere under the name Lauren Patton. I think I have about 5 or 6 songs that are out there now. Hopefully I will have another one out soon.
Yeah.
And you can also listen to CJ and I. We are on a song together. He's on Spot. Where can people find you?
Everywhere that you said. Is that the only song that we're on together? Is Where Were You? So far?
Where Were You? We're on together so far.
So far, that's all we got together.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right too. Anywhere you find music, charliejohnmusic.com is also another place. Thank you for doing this. This was the inaugural podcast.
Amazing.
Mad Sound Radio, episode 1. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun to chat.
No problem.
Thanks for listening to Mad Sound Radio.